University All-American fan now leads the track.
I think the Porsche is probably one of the most hip factories in the world as far as motor racing goes. But to start from scratch and build a race car and come and win Indianapolis with an engine and a race car at the same time is not very likely to happen.
Gentlemen, to your machine.
Kart racing needs new blood, but when you hear Porsche coming in, you figure everybody's chances of winning are gone.
I think what concerns us most about any new product as far as being a competitor is that somebody's liable to show up and really blow our drawers off.
They're going to be capable of going the speed or they wouldn't be coming. I guarantee you they're going to know what they can do before they get here.
Build a car and get it out here because we need some excitement.
In almost 50 years, no true factory car has won the Indianapolis 500. Porsche intends to change all that. For the first time, in May 1988, they will enter the race with a car that is pure Porsche. If you sing about flying to the moon, they call you a poet or a dreamer. If you actually do it, they call you an engineer.
Why did you get out?
The legendary 24 Hours of Le Mans, the pinnacle of European endurance racing. Here, the world's finest race cars prove their mettle over 3,000 miles of road at speeds up to 240 miles per hour. Since 1951, Porsche engineers have tested their cars in this race. What they've learned at Le Mans translates into great cars and teams that know how to win. After 7 straight victories there, Porsche engineers decided to look for another world-class challenge, for another mountain to climb.
In my racing career with Porsche, I did all kinds of racing. Production cars, production prototype cars racing, sports car racing, and I think these type of Indy car racing, I didn't do anything so far. This is the last part I haven't done. Therefore, it's interesting for me, and it's a new field.
Prior to directing the Indy car effort, Norbert Zinger was project manager of the phenomenally successful 956 race car. At its Le Mans debut in 1982, the 956 finished an amazing first, second, and third, and it has continued to win every year since. Another member of the 82 Le Mans team was driver Al Holbert.
Porsche, no matter how big or small it is made up of people. It's a people game. There's no doubt about it. And the teams that win had that, everything was just right then. The teams that continue to win obviously have a better organization. That's the next step. You win once, but how long can you continue winning? You have to have experience. You have to have good experience. You have to have winning experience. It's very difficult to start winning. It's a lot easier to keep winning.
Associated with Porsche racing since 1976, Holbert has won Le Mans twice. The 5-time IMSA champion is not doing badly in the U.S. either. Holbert is a driver's driver and an astute manager. He's directing the American half of this joint German-American race to Indy.
We have a green light.
It is May 1987 at the Indianapolis 500. This is a race so challenging that some have called it the Mount Everest of speed. Exactly 1 year from now, the Porsche team will be here to compete. Today they're at Indy to learn, to examine the track, and to check out the driving strategies of various teams. Though they dominate European endurance racing, here they're considered rookies. Over 350,000 fans show up annually to watch what has become the largest one-day sporting event in the world. The Speedway opens the first weekend in May, 3 weeks before the race. Teams use this time for roadwork and testing, dialing in the car as carefully as possible. Everyone is looking for that small, elusive advantage, that one demon tweak of the engine or chassis that will mean the margin of victory. And that includes the Porsche team.
When you read in the paper, for instance, you have practice from 11 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Then you say, well, it's plenty of time to work on the car and you can really set it up. But when you are there and watching these people there, they push the car in the pit road, and then you have a yellow for an hour. And then you go out, and another one is crashing, you have another yellow. And after 4 hours, you push the car back in the pit, and you just get one thing changed.
Just over 6 minutes left in this practice session. 6 minutes left.
The Indy 500 looks deceptively simple. In fact, there are many driving secrets that haunt this 2.5-mile oval racetrack. Cars can only be competitive here if they travel perilously close to the edge of disaster.
And approaching like turn one so fast, faster than any other place in the world. Turn one looks like a hole in the wall. Because behind 2, 3, or 4 cars, it's much more turbulence. Your wings lose effect. Your car feels very light, even in a straight line.
If you even see a little wiggle with the back end at Indy running 200, the driver's in there got his hands full.
All the super speedways are dangerous because if the car goes out of control, you go into a hard cement wall. And there's usually an ouch connected with that.
Here, speed can be both friend and enemy, since the Indianapolis 500 is actually a sprint race from one critical pit stop to another.
I think that's why you see people have problems in the pits, because you're so used to going 220 miles an hour, what have you, that you come in at 150 and it feels like you can get out of the car. And that's why you see people overshoot their pit or what have you.
Cornering Gs are just really, really exhilarating, especially after you're out of the car and you say, boy, I made it. You know, when you can't hold your feet on the pedals, and when you literally feel, the skin of your face being pressed inside the helmet, having a hard time moving your hand from the gear shift lever back to the steering wheel. Those are Gs.
You got to respect that and respect the speedway itself, because as it's been proven time and time again, the only lap worth leading at Indianapolis is the last one.
It's Ray Hall in his first win ever at Indianapolis. And he's won his way to victory. Danny Sullivan in the most amazing thing, Sullivan's spin to victory. Al Unser Sr., he roars to the checkered flag. His 4th win at Indy.
Like everything else in modern life, Indy car racing has become highly specialized. So-called mixed-breed cars dominate the race. Chassis by one company, usually a March or a Lola, engine by another. The current favorite is Cosworth. The last factory-built car to win the race was the 1940 Maserati. Defying this modern trend, Porsche will build its car from the ground up. From the beginning, veteran engineers at Porsche's automotive think tank in Weissach wanted to challenge Indy with their own race car. They hadn't built an open-wheeled single-seater in over 25 years. By the time the team returned from Indianapolis, work was already in progress on the unique designs necessary for an Indy car.
The Indy car is a complete new car. There's a new engine, a new gearbox, new chassis, open wheels, other kind of aerodynamics. It's everything different. On each part, you had to learn. On some parts, it's not too far away of a sports car, for instance, for Le Mans version. Chassis, aerodynamics is completely different. We have no experience, and we had to get that experience.
Porsche engines are well known for their durability in all kinds of high-performance racing. The new Indy car engine is a sophisticated retranslation of Porsche's latest Formula One technology that is readily adaptable to a production car. This turbocharged 2.65-liter V8 may well lead to a whole new line of sports car engines. It was designed by Hans Metzger, father of the World Championship Formula One Porsche Tag engine. Though they have a wealth of experience with racing engines, the aerodynamics of the Indy car, its chassis and suspension, pose a major new challenge. The design of an Indy car represents a compromise between downforce and drag. It must hurtle through the straightaways, creating minimum wind resistance, but be able to generate enough downforce to corner at maximum speed. September 1987, Project 2708, Porsche's newest race car, finally comes together. Only now, when all the components are combined, will the real personality of the car be revealed. The engine, suspension, and aerodynamics must work smoothly as a cohesive whole. If one element is out of balance, every other aspect of the car is compromised. Less than 2 years after the project began, the car is ready to make its maiden run at the Research and Development Center at Weissach. At this moment, Project 2708 enters a completely new phase. The proving ground lies 8,000 miles away. Porsche engineers and their partner, Quaker State Motor Oil, have decided to evaluate the fledgling race car in actual competition. There is barely time for one quick test session at Portland International Raceway. Then the newborn car will compete in one of the last CART IndyCar Series races of the 1987 season at Laguna Seca in California. Now the clock is running.
We need tools for fuel.
Okay, car's working that now.
More wheels.
Tires.
This our people can do.
They're working up front right
Getting
now
the tires
to
out.
get them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you need some help, we have plenty of people.
And your people can get to work on lowering the car.
Right.
Porsche faces a real trial by fire at their first test on an American track. Setting up a car to race usually takes 3 or 4 months. The team has to do it here in 2 days. In 48 hours, the car will compete at Laguna Seca. Al Unser Sr., 4-time winner of the Indy 500, will drive the car for the very first time.
We want to go second. We cannot pull in second right now, but we can change it when we take the gears out.
Much like an aircraft test pilot, Unser is expected to report back to the engineers on the nuances of the car. They've got to have his gut-level reaction to its racing capabilities. Now it is a journey of two, the man and the machine, out onto the track and out into history.
Speed isn't what we're after right now, as it is more or less being comfortable and the reliability of the car. If the car is doing certain things, or if it's not doing something that you like, you try to change the car to make it respond to you and you to it.
On maximum speed, you are reaching more than 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more. Just a little bit. Okay.
He wants you to use 11.2 for shifting.
Okay, well, I've been using 11 to 11.5.
Okay, 11.
Yeah.
The delicate process of dialing in the car for the Laguna race, maximizing its power, tuning its handling and stability, begins during this test. After 20 laps, the team begins to focus on the chassis' handling characteristics. Spring rates are adjusted to improve them. Nevertheless, an aerodynamic problem remains.
So the thing right now that's keeping it from going faster is still that that sensitivity.
Me trusting going in and making it bite, you know, and making the whole car, the front and rear bite together.
Yeah, no. We can't find any more rear wing for it. I mean, more downforce in the rear.
Well, what we try after is to take this front part away, just to see. Probably it gets really terrible that. And within 3 laps, we know.
It is a bit like flying airplanes. You know, we're flying low at 205, 10, 15, 20, even 30 miles an hour. That means that the aerodynamic emphasis is very, very critical. And the differences that make the car drivable and not drivable, or go 208 versus 216, are very, very subtle. It's not really that you can sit and theorize. It's a really empirical situation. You have to just experiment on a whole lot.
What does it do to the front wing? Increase it or decrease it?
It's a little less, but
then you can come up with the flap this way.
Right.
I think the first day of testing has been very interesting. The fact that our people were able to get their hands on the car and actually see the hardware gives them a big boost. We've all been anxious to just get into the swing of things.
Can you hang out that good?
I don't drill through the bottom. Die sagen, die machen für Ovale.
There have been no revelations today that would change our game plan. And what we've learned today just encourages us that we can achieve what we were out to do at Laguna.
Laguna Seca, California. The Porsche team will have to adjust the car to this specific track, then qualify for the race itself. They will be competing against teams that have been racing in this year's kart series for 7 months.
It's tough. You don't come into any series, you know, without getting your feet wet, you know, and you're doing it the right way. You just got to go do it. You know? You aren't going to waltz into this deal. We've been all doing it too long. Well, they're behind in the sense that they haven't done this type of racing. They have a world of experience in endurance racing. But this isn't endurance racing. It's just like if we wanted to go race stock cars. We're very good at what we do right now, but you go race stock cars, you got to go pay your dues.
Another question was, you saw you have a small metal box in here that the driver can hear.
I have to see that every time. We have to look at it.
Yeah, it's screwed on here.
Because it cannot touch any moving part.
With 2 chassis dominating IndyCar racing, it's a very brave move to come in with an all brand new car and a brand new engine and so on and so forth. I think people would have terror in their hearts if Porsche had gone out and bought a March or a Lola, but Porsche doesn't do things that way.
You know, March and Lola have been doing this a long time, and it takes time to develop a new chassis and a new engine, but obviously with the resources that Porsche has and what they're doing, I'm sure it's a program that's going to be reckoned with. I think what concerns us most about any new product as far as being a competitor is that somebody's liable to show up and really blow our drawers off.
The first day of qualifying is a make or break moment, a chance to see if they're really competitive. For the first time, the car will be pushed to its limits. It will be forced to maneuver in traffic, and it will have to outrun a field of other cars. Now the car's performance will be measured against others, not just against itself. The news Al Unser has to report is mixed, and there's very little time to fine-tune the car. The engine is running strong, but he's having problems with the handling. By the end of the first qualifying session, Unser and the team are unsatisfied with their lap time of 58.19. They need to shave some time off. Unser's suggestion, change the gear ratios.
And bring down second too. See, second's just a little bit too high here. So he's going to bring it down about 500 Rs. Because it hangs up and you can't move it. Yeah, okay.
Carl, you want to start marking the tires then?
In addition to perfecting the car to qualify and race, the pit crew must prepare for competition. The Americans are introducing their German teammates to Indy-style pit stops.
It's kind of a challenge because there's the language barrier, but even though they might have one way of doing things in Germany and we have another way of doing things here, we can usually work it out through sign language.
Then we start in neutral.
Yeah,
Start.
race it, yeah.
Jack it up. First gear, rev it up, drop it.
Okay.
Okay.
The second day of qualifying begins with a practice session. The team needs to check the results of the overnight changes. The day starts poorly. The changed gear ratios improve engine performance. But the handling problems have gotten worse. At one point, Unser actually bumps the wall. If they hope to qualify, they've got to make immediate adjustments. At the end of the practice session, the exact nature of the handling problem becomes clear.
But I was pushing so bad the last session, and I'm not pushing that bad now. They're there. So the springs help that, but now I got the oversteer really bad.
What I think maybe the car totally is too stiff, front and rear. What do you think about softening both front and rear ends?
The team knows this is it. Qualify or disappear from the race. Unser pushes the car harder than ever before. They do it. They beat their previous time and qualify at 57.55.
No, when they're bringing from the Valvoline?
Yeah, just the dry breath, that's all.
If it fits.
If it fits, it doesn't leak.
Ah, yeah.
So then we can go back and go to work.
Okay, yeah.
If the team wants to make any changes, this is their last chance. The race is less than 12 hours away. They've been up late into the night for 3 days running, and still there's more to do.
Es wäre ein größerer Widerstand und baut aber, Grund baut das aber leichter, sagen wir so. Ja, ja. Okay, you'll flag me out.
I'll flag you out.
Okay, who's in front of me? Rutherford.
Yeah.
Unless he's sitting there, if he's not sitting there, just read me out because I'll handle the rest. Out
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But if he's sitting there, kind of let me know if there's a car coming, just point.
Right.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Just 1 week after leaving the Weissach Development Center, the Quaker State Porsche car embarks on its racing career. These are early days in the Porsche program. Their goal is to finish the race and start gathering the kind of information about Indy car racing that other teams have had for years. Michael Andretti takes the lead, closely followed by his father, Mario. In a competitive situation like this, the team is charged up. They want to do the best they can. They're accustomed to winning, but with this new car, they're fighting for every inch. Suddenly, a problem develops. In the 7th lap, the engine cuts off. Unser reports that he's lost fuel pressure. When they try to restart the car, it won't turn over. They find a broken water pump, and the car is forced to retire.
At times like this, you really wonder. You know, it makes you stop and think, why do you race? And when you are accustomed to winning and being successful fairly quickly, or at least meeting your goals, you really have to scratch your head and say, why do you do it? What really was the goal up front? And I can't underplay the competitiveness. I mean, it's just like companies are competitive in the marketplace. We like to be competitive there, but we really like to be competitive in a racetrack.
Well, it was just another test, and a test in the public, I think. When you look back, we had a complete new car, and we did all the practice, we did all the qualifying, but we just did 7 laps in the race. But we had now to get the car faster, and this is the work we had to do over the winter time.
Well, the real comparison, I would go back to 1983 when we ran the new Eagle with Dan Gurney, and everybody laughed at us our first race when we really didn't. We had a hard time qualifying, and then we showed up at Indy, 3 weeks later and qualified 5th. And the development part that I know that Porsche is going to put into this program, nobody's laughing. We're really just kind of feel fortunate that they didn't do as well as we expected them to, because we know they're going to be a major threat.
The Porsche car just hadn't had any testing time, and so what they're doing is they're going through their trial and error at a race meet. They now, in fact, are really ahead of everybody because no one else has their 1988 car. They'll go through November and December and January all testing, when our new car, say the March or the Lola, will show up in January or February. They'll already have about 3 or 4 months on us. The way Porsche is right now and the way the car looks right now doesn't mean anything to what it's going to be and how it's going to perform in 1988.
The future holds many tests, more races. The Quaker State Porsche team knows well the kind of challenge that lies ahead.
When you're coming from the top of the mountain and you start climbing up another mountain, you had to start far down. Yeah, well, we hope we can climb up till the top, but I can't tell you how long it takes.
Tenacity. I think that's a characteristic of this company, is to stick to it. That doesn't mean that Porsche will conquer and master and dominate. It just means that the resources will be applied and people will see the job at hand once it's defined and stick to it until it's done.
Porsche races not only to win, but to learn. What the team learns here will help the company realize Professor Ferry Porsche's early dream: to build the perfect sports car. Some people build cars that are products of market research. Porsche cars are the products of dreams.